Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grim Happenings. This is a podcast where we dive into real stories from people who have experienced the paranormal firsthand. I'm your host, Trisha, and today I'm joined by Paul, a former skeptic turned paranormal investigator. Thanks for being here, Paul. Before we get into the juicy bits, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, sure. My name's Paul. I've been married for 15 years with my wife, Lisa. We have 11-year-old daughter and three dogs. Yeah, my daughter's into fencing a lot. So a lot of our time is spent taking her to practice and tournaments and things like that. And also a big Lions fan. And
Heck yeah, go
yeah, I know. I've
Lions.
had season tickets for 30 years. They mailed me a Coke this year.
That's
50th.
awesome.
Oh, I
Oh,
know.
how cool.
And in the summer, in the winter too, but mostly in the summer, I have a place up north that we go to almost every weekend in the summer up in Hale, Michigan on the lake. It's
Okay.
beautiful. And yeah, I still play softball on a league and horseshoes.
Nice.
Yeah, and a league as well. So that's a little bit about me and my personal.
I love that.
Yeah,
Horseshoes takes me back. I have
yeah.
family that I don't know if they still play now, but every time we had a family get together, that's all they would do.
Oh, really?
And as me being a younger person, I never understood it until I actually tried it myself, and it's pretty fun.
Oh, yeah. Being on a league is a blast. Like I've been on the league for over 10 years and come in first, last, second.
All of
So
the
yeah,
above.
we got a trophy for last place, for first place, and second place, and then somewhere in the
Nice.
middle. Yeah, it's fun.
Very cool. Also, I love that your daughter's into fencing. That's amazing, and
Hmm.
it's so cool. It's such a cool sport to be in.
Yeah. In fact, we have a tournament this weekend. This Sunday is another tournament up in Michigan or something like that. I can't exactly remember where it is.
Very cool.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's great. It's a cool sport. It's a whole community. I didn't realize how much of a community it is for
Yeah,
fencing.
I
Like,
had no idea.
we just kind of said, "Hey, do you want to try this?" She wanted to try it when she was 8 years old. And yeah, she's been doing it for a few years now. So
Very
we went
cool.
to the summer nationals last summer, and it was in Milwaukee. That was
Oh,
cool
that's
though. So
awesome.
yeah, it was
You get
great.
to
And she met Lee Kiefer, who is like a gold medal winner in
oh,
fencing. So it was pretty cool. She was
very
super
cool.
excited. It was
Such a
cute.
fun
She got her
experience.
picture taken and she touched herself.
Aw,
Oh, so
that's
super cute,
adorable.
super cute. Yes.
Okay, and one more thing before we
Hmm.
start. You said you have 3 dogs.
Oh yeah.
I gotta hear about them. What's their names?
Sure.
What kind of dogs do you got?
Uh, they're all well, not all mixes. So Oliver is my only male dog. He's 6 years old. He's a German Shepherd mix. We got him from Detroit Dog Rescue. He's great. He's quirky kind of dog, you
Mhm.
know. He likes to bark at anybody walking
Oh, yeah.
by. And he sounds really tough. Like he's the biggest baby in the world. And then we have Beauty is another rescue. She is a long-haired Dachshund. So she's super cute, super small. We rescued her as well. A friend of ours is a vet, and someone was trying to breed her, and she was having seizures, and the
Oh,
puppies all
that's too bad.
died, and so they kind of left her there at the vet. And so my daughter wanted a smaller dog. We've never
Yeah.
had small dogs; we always had bigger
Yeah.
dogs. So we got Beauty, and yeah, she's awesome. She's
Aw,
off the seizure meds now.
good.
She's doing great. Then Josie is our other dog. We just got. She's about a year and a half, almost 2 years old now.
Aw,
We just got her. She's a chocolate lab Australian Shepherd mix,
awesome.
so she's like a chocolate lab on steroids.
I was just gonna
So
say
yeah.
very hyper.
Oh yeah, very like she needs to play. So every morning I'm out there
Yeah.
with a frisbee. She's
Aw,
amazing. And like when I get home tonight, it's
yeah.
dark already. I'll be throwing in that you can still see it and catch it.
That's
Yeah,
adorable.
she's
I love
great. And
that.
they're all lake dogs. Even the little one, I wasn't sure when we got her. It was hilarious. She'll go right down to the water, run back and
I
forth
love
on the water,
that.
fishing up to her. Yeah, it's great. They all love the boat,
Aw,
pontoon boat. They're living their best dog lives. I'm
I
just
love
love
that.
dogs. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. I'm an
Sure,
animal
sure.
lover, so I gotta hear about the fur babies.
Of course.
But anyway, so let's continue. We talked a little bit before. You
Hmm.
said that you were skeptic.
Oh yeah.
Before we get into the actual stories, what made you become an investigator? What's the story with that?
Sure. So yeah, like you said, honestly, I never thought I would do anything like ghost hunting or paranormal. Yeah, quite a skeptic. But really, when I met my wife, we started dating, and I knew she was kind of into that
Hmm.
stuff. And it's not like I had a closed mind to it, but it was
Hmm.
just like, I thought it could all be explained, right?
I feel like most relationships are like that. There's always that one person that believes and the other is like, maybe. I'm in the
Right.
same situation, so I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So, and you know, and then she would watch those shows that were on
Oh,
at the
yeah,
time, and I'd watch them with her because they were interesting, at least.
definitely entertaining.
You know, I like how they would do the sessions with the recorders. They had the EMF readers and some of the other things they would use on the shows. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
But I always kind of thought, yeah, I bet you it's just all kind of staged in the back or something. So, and her sister, Kelly, lived across the street from us at the time. And they would get together and always, kind of talk about these things.
Yeah.
And that one day they bought a couple of EMF readers. And I remember I came home from work and they were sitting in the living room and they're like, look what we got. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys.
Oh, it's too
So they're like,
funny.
hey, we're going to go out. And this was in the middle of summer. We're going to go out for a little bit, but we'll be back later. I'm like, where are you going?
Yeah.
We're going to the cemetery. I'm like, oh my God, you guys. Okay, go to the cemetery. I'm like, don't stay out late. Well,
Yeah.
it's getting dark now. It's like 7 o'clock,
Yeah.
8 o'clock. So I call them like, tell me you're still not at cemetery. We're going to one more. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's hilarious. So it wasn't just one stop, it was
Oh yeah, they made multiple stops. I don't know if they really found anything or not, but they
Yeah.
were having fun doing that. So that was kind of the first step into it, I guess, for me. Just from that, and then they saw I think it was in the paper or something, or on Facebook, there was going to be a ghost hunt in Garden City at a place called the Straight Farmhouse.
Oh.
And I never even knew this place existed. And they were super geeked. So they bought tickets to go to this thing. And I remember they went to that. And then when they came back later, I asked, how was it? And they were very disappointed. So I
Aw.
was pretty surprised by that,
Yeah.
actually. So I'm like, really? She's like, well, I'm like, well, why? What was wrong? She's like, well, the place was really cool. The stories were
Mhm.
great. But the way they ran it, she's like, they wouldn't let us, they would kind of stand up at the front. They would show us a piece of equipment, but they wouldn't let us touch it or use it. And then they show us another one really quickly. And then they
Mhm.
would just herd us into these rooms and kind of tell a story and then hurry up and go to another room. And,
Yeah.
and then that was kind of what the ghost hunt was.
There wasn't much room for exploration on their own.
Right. It was more of like almost like a show. Like
Gotcha.
here's a
Okay.
story and we're going to show you where it happened, kind of thing.
Okay.
So they're pretty disappointed. And so we were talking about it just as a group. And, I said, well, how did they get this place? Did they just run out? I was like, yeah, I asked the guy that was there and you could rent out this place. I'm like, no. And we just kept talking and kind of led
Yeah.
into, well, what if you guys ran? I go, what would you do differently? And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, we would definitely let people use the equipment, kind of do what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why don't you do it? So they,
Nice.
thought about it and they put together some money and they bought like all the equipment you see, like not all, but a lot of it they see on the TV
Yeah.
shows. We did have a lot of stuff, digital recorders,
Yeah.
the, the temperature guns, the spirit box, the list, the night vision goggles.
That's
We brought in
awesome.
dowsing rods later, things like that, because we kept
Yeah.
trying to find different pieces of equipment that you could find. And
Yeah.
we would just look and see what the shows were using online and
For sure.
Google searches and things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I feel like there's certain equipment that works better for other people than not that location too. There
Mhm.
might be some activity with, like, the spirit box, but nothing with, like, the EMF
100%.
detector.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. It all depended on the locations. They got all this stuff and they rented it out. And so they created a Facebook page. They came up
Mhm.
with a snappy name. They called themselves GHS Paranormal, stood for Ghost Hunting Sisters, which I thought
That's
was cute.
adorable. I love that.
Yeah, and then later I helped them make a website. It's no
Mm.
longer, we're not in business anymore. I took the website down and wanted to pay
Yeah.
for it. We post events and things on there. But
Nice.
so the first one we did was mostly friends and family,
Mhm.
but we did post it on Facebook. So we had a few people from the outside, which was
Nice.
really cool. And another thing that they didn't like was they had so many people packed in here and the place isn't super big.
Yeah.
Like the
Makes a
Straight Farmhouse has got, I think it's 2 floors and it's got a Michigan basement, which is really creepy.
Yeah.
When they did it, they wanted to kind of cap the number at like,
Yeah.
at the most, I think we had 15, and maybe it was even 16
Oh, wow.
actually. So
Okay.
we kind of broke into groups of 5, and then they got their other sister involved to kind of help lead a group because she was into it too. And then actually her mother, my mother-in-law, and their aunt, I guess, my aunt by marriage.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
awesome.
was the girl. So it was all this all female group, paranormal group, and I was the
Love
guy
it.
that would come and set up the equipment and like bring
Yeah.
and carry all the boxes in,
Oh, that's
set
why
up
you
the
were there.
cameras. Yeah, that's why I was there. Yeah, because I was just kind of there. You're more curious than anything. And I'm like, this is hilarious. I'm just gonna go. I remember the first time I went, I'm like, this is so funny. I'm gonna go because I couldn't believe they were selling tickets to this at
Yeah.
first. Well, I did believe it because I thought it was kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
And I remember I just set up all the equipment. They would do their spiel, and that's when I had the first time that I started grabbing a piece of equipment, and I went up. And I think the first time I actually felt something. We were on the second floor of the Straight Farmhouse. I think I felt a tug on my shirt, and there was a
Really?
video of it somewhere. of like I turned around because I thought it was somebody, and like
Yeah.
there was nobody behind me. So
Wow.
that was really weird. I wasn't sure if it was just my imagination at the time, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But it was that was kind of
It
like
was
my
one of
very
those things
first.
that hasn't left your mind, so more than
Yeah, that was probably my
likely could've been.
very first experience. But even after that, I'm still kind of like, yeah, I just imagine.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's how I kind of got into it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Very cool.
mhm.
Yeah, so was the straight what is it called? The straight house?
Yeah, the straight farmhouse.
Farmhouse, okay, so was this the first location that you went to that you've actually experienced
Yes.
something, or have you experienced something anywhere else before this?
So I will say before we this even became a thing, there was a time at my house when I used to live in Roseville, and I never had any experiences like or any feelings at the house. But
Mhm.
there was one time in broad daylight, I was sitting there and we had a dish on a counter, and it just kind of fell off the counter, which was really weird. In the middle of the day, the
Yeah.
dog was looking at it, and I just kept going, "Well, how did that happen?"
Yeah.
Like, it was really weird.
There was
I wasn't really
no
scared or anything. No, there was no breeze, and it was really
vibration?
heavy, and it didn't break, but it was, "How did that
Oh,
fall
okay.
off there?" I thought that
Yeah,
was really
that is
weird.
very strange.
Yeah, later on, my brother, because after I moved out and lived in Farmington Hills now, but
Yeah.
my brother was living there, and he told me one night he thought he heard he used to play guitar. He's like, "Yeah, I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard my guitar playing downstairs." I go,
Really?
"What?" He's like, "Yeah, I swear I heard the guitar playing." Or, "What'd you do?" He's like, "I just went back to bed."
Oh my god.
I know, he's crazy. So,
Oh,
yeah, I mean, those are kind of little things.
yeah.
So I guess I was skeptical, but still kind of that one
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah.
cool. So we kind of went over as far as you becoming a believer. What was the one experience that was like, hey, this is real. There's something here. There's no way to debunk this.
Sure, sure, yeah, so, like I said, that first one I felt, I kept thinking maybe that was just, my imagination. The one that really kind of opened my eyes to it was we were asked or we called the Whitney in Detroit
Mm-hmm.
and asked if they'd be interested in doing like what we were doing at the Straight Farmhouse, having people maybe they could do dinner. Then after dinner, we'll take them on a ghost hunt. And
Yeah.
they were all about it. They were like, oh, yes, that's 100%. We were so on board. And we kind of wanted to go down. What we like to do is go down early, the
Mhm.
lay of the land, kind of
Yeah.
figure out how we're going to run the show.
Okay.
So we went down there and it was the guy said, why don't you come in on a Sunday night if there's
Hmm.
not a lot of people?
Nice.
So we went there Sunday night, and there were some diners. I can't remember what time it was. It was after 5 or 6 o'clock. It
Okay.
was in the middle of the winter. So it was dark out.
Oh,
Yes. I went upstairs because they had a couple floors there, and I
yeah.
brought the digital recorder with me. And Lisa and Kelly were kind of talking to the manager there and kind of asking where they could
Hmm.
go, things like that. I'm like, I'm just going to go upstairs and look around.
Yeah.
So I went up. There was nobody up there. There was
Yeah. And
nobody up
this
there.
is the third floor.
Yeah,
So,
I think it was the second floor.
okay.
Yeah, because the first floor, there was some dining on the first
Yep.
floor.
Like right when you go
Yeah,
in,
and then you
right?
go up the
Yep.
stairs, and then there's an elevator there. The 3rd floor is where the ghost bar was,
Yes.
right? Yeah, so
Yeah.
it wasn't
Yep.
the ghost bar, it was the
Okay.
other middle floor. And there was a couple hallways there, and they had dinner music playing.
Hmm.
And I had the recorder in my palm, and my hand out in
Hmm.
my palm, and I'm just walking and kinda talking to myself, not hearing, seeing, feeling anything. Then the music stopped, and I think I said, "Oh, they turned off the music," and I was found myself at a intersection where I could go left or right.
Yeah.
And I go, "Well, I guess I'll turn here." I can't remember which way I turned, but I turned
Yeah.
and nothing. Nothing. I felt nothing, heard
Hmm.
nothing. Went back downstairs, met up with them. They had everything kind of figured out. We went home, and I'm like, I'm going to listen to what I had on the recorder.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you listen for these things, you have to put headphones on because it's really hard to hear
Yeah.
without. So I'm listening, and I get to that point where I say something like, "Well, they turn the music off," and before I say, "I guess I'll turn here," there's this whisper voice.
No way.
Yeah, super loud. I'm like, "No way." I rewound it like 3 or 4 times, and I woke Lisa up, and I said, "Hey,
That's
you have to
crazy.
listen to this." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That was really good." I'm like, "No way." That I know I was the only one there. There's
Yeah.
nobody else there. So, I don't know where that came from. I
That's
actually have I don't know if it'll play. If I could try.
ooh, we can try.
I'll try.
Now, well, we will listen to the
Yeah, yeah, that's
recording,
fine.
but like when you were replaying that moment,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I have goosebumps just even thinking about it. Could you tell like if it's a man or if it's a woman or
So the history of the Whitney, from what I understand or remember, was it's haunted by several spirits, like the original owner,
Yeah.
David Whitney, his wife, I think the woman in white that they
Mhm.
say kind of haunts that place. It's hard for me to tell. It's
Oh,
tough as a male,
okay.
female, but
Yeah, for
yeah,
those who don't know, paranormal team, not Paul's team, of course, but there is a paranormal team that still to this day will do tours. I went in July and it was amazing. It was so much fun. I highly recommend it.
that's cool. How did it work for those? Did they give you dinner and then the thing, or was it mostly they kind of walk through?
We just did the paranormal tour. So it
Oh,
started
cool.
at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And by the time we got there, there was maybe a couple diners,
Yeah.
but not very many.
I wish they would have done it with us. It was a little
Yeah.
different with ours. They did a dinner thing, and it was hard to do with
Yeah.
that. But we got to go to the carriage house, was awesome.
Yes, we
Yes.
did too. And it's creepy. Give us a second. We're going to go ahead and see if we can hear this recording. And if it's not so clear on the recording through the mic, then I will post it
Yeah.
so that we can hear it a
Okay.
little bit clearer.
I don't know if you heard it. All right, let's.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
heard it. Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Wow.
that was the experience for me. That was like, wow, it opened my mind. Like there
Yeah.
must be something to this, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so cool.
Yeah, after that, like, I was really more into these, I used to go when they would have a few of these, and I used to laugh because 'cause there'd be people crawling around on the ground with these
Yeah.
meters trying to, like, check for things,
Yeah.
and the one thing we did, which I really liked, was we debunked
Yes,
a
and I
lot
feel
of
like that's
things.
important is to this whole experience that yes, you wanna capture something, you wanna see, hear, whatever, but it's the fact that is it really what we want it to be? And I feel like a lot of people do think that it's something that it's really not. So I do like the fact that
Yeah.
debunking is
A lot of
something that
times,
most
like,
people.
especially in the older houses, the
Yeah.
electricals really
Oh,
then gives off a lot of EMF, and that can mess with your senses and things like
yep.
that too. But not necessarily that's for all of them, but it was nice because we did a lot of that.
Nice. Very cool. Awesome. That was really awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Now, with your first experience as far as being an actual investigator with the Straight Farm, what was the backstory about that?
Yeah. So the Straight Farmhouse had, I can't remember the exact history, but I know there was a young boy, his name was Ralph, and he obviously passed away in the house sometime. And that the story was from, I don't know where it came from, but there were some stories that he was haunting the Straight Farmhouse because that's where he grew
Yeah.
up, and it's now a museum. You can, as far as I know, I haven't been in years, but I think you can still go to it, and
Yeah.
it's only open certain times and pay a
Okay.
couple bucks to walk through it. It's got 3 floors. There's a, I don't know if they let you in the basement. They let us in when we did the ghost hunts, but main floor, and then
Yeah.
it's got the second floor with a bunch of cool.
Interesting. Okay.
It's got a lot of old things from Garden
Yeah.
City and yeah, things like
I
that.
did check out the website, so it looks like they still are open. I didn't see anything about any paranormal
Okay.
investigations,
Maybe no one's doing them
which
anymore.
I'm kind
Yeah.
of bummed about because I
Yeah.
would go in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just waiting for a new team to come back.
Yeah,
Who knows?
maybe. Yeah. The one time we went was great. We've had lots of, that's probably one of my favorite places that we went where we had a lot of
Yeah.
experiences. The one time we went, we had a group, it was a couple younger girls, um, and they had the obulus. You know what the obulus is?
Yes.
Okay. So if you don't know what it is, it's a box that reads EMF readings and it has a database of words in it. And the theory behind it is spirits can manipulate
Mhm.
the EMF to produce words. And you've probably seen them on some of the
Oh
shows if
yeah.
you watch the shows. So we've used this in many, almost every single one we've done. People like it. It's
Yeah.
fun. I like it. It's kind of cool. And sometimes it's like, okay, I think it's just random words coming out of there. So, but this time was a little different. We were on the main floor and I wasn't leading the group, but I was following. That's usually what I would do
Hmm.
because the girls would run it. I would just kind of tag
Okay.
along. So this group, they had the obulus and it kept saying rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. And it said it like 3 times. And I'm like, wow, that was wild. And I go,
Yeah.
that thing it doesn't usually repeat.
Just
At least in my
that.
experience with it, we've never heard it like repeat
Really?
like that. Not like that many in a row. It was kind of
Yeah,
wild.
that is weird.
And I'm like, well, let's go to the second floor.
Mhm.
There's a game room up there and they have toys and things like that.
Okay.
Maybe something's up there. And we had to wait for our shift because the way we would run these, we split into three groups. And like I said, 5 or 6 people in each group. There was a group downstairs, a group on the main floor, and a group upstairs. And after 20, 30 minutes, we'd switch.
Okay.
So it was our turn. So we went up there. Uh, we're in the game room, and the girls are there, and they're looking around like, and then they found this ceramic rabbit, and it was up on one of the
What?
top shelves, and it was great. And they're like, "Oh, Ralph, thank you for
Aw.
sharing this, your rabbit with us."
Cute.
And the damn thing flew off the shelf,
No way.
and they went through it. I got a recording of
Oh
it too.
my
So I found
Okay,
this too. Yeah, I
awesome.
was glad I looked this
That
up. So and here it is. So this is great.
Oh, that's too
So
funny.
it fell and it broke, and they were freaking out. We're all like, it was cool. Like they kind of ran halfway out of the room,
Yeah.
and that was a really cool experience.
That is
That was really that's the first time I've seen something kind of other than what I said at home the one
yeah.
time. That was just weird out of the blue. That was the first
Yeah.
time I've seen like a response to something like that.
Interesting. Yeah, it was like a direct correlation. So you got the word, you
Mhm.
saw the object, and then it actually moved.
Yeah, and they
If
freaked.
that's not
It was
proof, I don't
awesome.
know what else
Yeah, it was
is.
great. It was great.
Very cool. Awesome. So with this location, I just got a couple more questions
Sure.
here. So obviously we got a lot of activity on the second level. Was there anywhere else in this building that you caught anything or you felt anything?
Yeah. All three levels really. Used a spirit box down in the basement with trigger objects. The funny thing was we were on the main floor before we went down, and we had the spirit box, and we said, "Hey," and I don't have a recording of this, unfortunately. I said, "Hey, Ralph, we have Matchbox cars. Do you want a red car or a green car?" I think that's what we had. And the spirit box is basically a radio that
Mhm.
scans backwards, does AM, FM frequencies, it goes real
Is
fast.
that the one with the static?
Yeah, it's like the
The
white
static
noise.
and then it Okay,
Yeah, it
yeah.
says like
Okay, perfect.
so. I've never really had a lot of luck with those, but this
Okay.
one time I did. So that's when I asked the question. It's green.
No
Yeah,
way.
it was cool. I wish I had that one. I
Oh,
don't have that one. That was cool. So we brought it down there. That was really cool because we all sat. They had chairs down there, kind of
yeah.
sat in a circle,
Okay.
asked questions like that, and we were getting pretty good responses from the spirit
Yeah.
box. Yeah, that
So
was
do you as an investigator, do you feel like this was obviously a good experience? You
mhm,
didn't feel threatened, you
right.
didn't feel like you were unsafe. Do you feel like the spirits at this location enjoy people coming to visit, to talk?
I think so. I did
Yeah.
that one. I did. We always talked to Ralph, and
Yeah.
he's a younger boy, so maybe he likes when people come and
Yeah.
acknowledge him. I've never had any bad things really happen there. We did one time. It was like off the hook there. One time, like it was crazy. Everybody was experiencing things. Like the one thing I guess people don't really know about,
Mhm.
like you do a real ghost hunt. A lot of the time it's pretty quiet, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, you watch the shows, right? And I'm sure they cut out a bunch of
Oh, I'm
dead time,
sure.
right? But sometimes we would have nights there where it was not just there, other people just dead, like
Yeah.
nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's
I
kind
wonder
of
what causes that. Like,
yeah, I don't
I
know.
wonder I have a feeling that sometimes it is the people who come. Some people are just more attractive
Yeah,
to spirits or like the paranormal than
mhm.
others. And maybe it's the moon. Maybe it's just an event coming up. There's an
Right,
anniversary of their death. Who knows? This stuff's always interesting to me.
definitely.
Like, hey, why did we have more activity tonight than, last week? Like, what's going on here? So
Right,
you kind of look
the
at
people that we had the one night, they were all into it. It was crazy. Like
yeah.
people were like getting tugged and getting good responses and
Interesting.
EVPs, and they were doing burst sessions where they were like burst session where they kind of ask a question and then you you hit you hit record, and then you go back and listen right away to see if you get
Oh,
responses and
gotcha.
things like
Okay.
that. Yeah, so we were doing that. It was really,
Ah.
and we had a Mel meter. Know what that is?
I've heard of it, but give us an overview kind of
Yeah,
what it is and what it does.
it measures EMF and temperature together.
Oh,
Some of them have, like a antenna on it, and it's got
mhm.
like I call it like a force field, but it's really
Yeah.
if you get closer to it, it'll kinda alert the closer you
Yeah,
get to the
okay.
antenna. So that's really a cool
That
one.
kinda reminds me of the Boo Bear. Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay, so we experienced this firsthand. I've seen it on the shows, like on TV or whatever, but when we were at the Whitney, they had a Boo Bear.
Okay.
And Boo Bear is this stuffed teddy bear, and they'll put it somewhere, and if a spirit or whatever gets close, the temperature changes, so
Mhm.
he'll say, "Bert, it's cold in here." Or if somebody touches it and be like, "Hey." do you want to be my friend? Or it would react. So whatever it says does.
Oh,
You
that's
kind of
awesome.
understand what's going on. We did it in the carriage house at the Whitney because apparently there's children up there and they will tug. I didn't experience that, but apparently
Did the Boo
that's
Bear go
something.
off?
Yeah, it went off
That's
multiple times.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I got a couple of recordings of that
Yeah,
too.
that's
It was
wild.
pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I always thought that that was a fun thing, especially when you're investigating and you know there's children around.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes it a little more
Is it
safer, you
actual
know?
teddy bear?
Yeah, it's the actual teddy bear.
Did
It's
you
pretty
touch
good.
it?
We didn't touch it. No, she like kind of showed us like different things that it would
If she
say.
got close to it, it would kinda go
Yes.
off? Oh,
Yep.
interesting.
So
Must have
once
something
we all
inside of it.
backed up, she
Yeah.
would start talking, and
Mhm.
then all of a sudden, like the temperature changed. It was like, "Ooh, it's cold in here."
Yeah.
I was
It's
just like,
basically the
"Oh,
same thing except in a
yeah,
teddy bear exterior. That's
yeah,
cool. I like a
yeah."
trigger objects with that. Yeah, the guy that made the Mel meter, Galka, I think his name was,
Mhm.
his daughter tragically died in a car
Aw.
accident, and I think it's short for Melissa. That's his
Okay.
daughter's name. He
I feel
made
like
this
I read
device.
that
He's
some.
great. That was always a popular one to use.
Nice.
I
Okay.
liked it because it was kind of neat. 'Cause when that thing goes off, you're like, wow, that's wild. Like, I
Yeah.
know you need to get close to
Right.
hit
To
that thing.
actually, yeah, make it go off. Very cool. That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your experiences. I do have a couple other
Sure.
questions out of curiosity for being an investigator. You kind of hit on this a little bit, but what is your favorite tool or instrument that you prefer to use or enjoy using the most?
Yeah. I mean, I always start off with a digital recorder
Okay.
because that was my first experience, I think,
Yeah.
as well. But it's good because you go back, you listen, and you got to
Mhm.
wear headphones and you got to listen hard sometimes.
Yeah.
I like that. And then the EMF reader is good too.
Hmm.
They sell a bunch of different what they call them ghost meters. So it's basically
Yeah.
the same kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Just
Okay.
to see, and yeah, like the Mel and the Ovilus is just fun, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely is.
Yeah.
Nice. So, what makes you decide on a location, I guess? So, if I was going into this, being an investigator, what are some of the things that you would look for or look at to be like, hey, this could potentially be a good location, even if you didn't have personal experiences there?
Yeah. So what we did a lot of was kind of crowdsource
Okay.
from people, and we put it out there on the website. We put it out there on Facebook. Say, hey, we know you're popular. The Whitney's got a
Yeah.
reputation, and we heard Straight Farm, and then we got some other places from people that, hey, I know this restaurant has some. I've been there, and this has happened,
Nice.
or try this place over here.
Yeah.
And we would contact these places, and some of them were like, yeah, let's do that. Now some were like, nope, we don't want anything to do with it.
Be associated.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
that's how we did a lot of that
Okay.
was kind of talking with people and trying to figure out, and then
Gotcha.
we go there. Before we ever hosted an event, we would always go
Hmm.
there and look at the layout.
Yeah.
We need to figure out how we're gonna be able to fit X number of people in this
Right.
area, kind of see how big it is and work it out that way. That was the biggest way we would search and find
Yeah.
things other than the more popular ones.
Okay. That kind of goes into like my next question as far as investigating goes. What does a typical investigation look like as far as, hey, we found this location, apparently it's haunted, let's go check it out. Like what are those like basic steps, just high level
Sure.
that you would like kind of go into? And then when you get to the location,
Mhm.
what are you setting up? Like what's
Oh,
most
yeah.
important?
So yeah, what the first thing we do, like we found a place they were willing to have us come in. We would go there, talk to them, get their stories. Like, hey, so where are the hot spots at? And they would usually point us to like an area, a room or something, tell us some stories. We're like,
Okay.
okay. And we get the lay of the land, how it's all built out there. What I would set up initially, we had a bunch of security cameras and things like
Okay.
that. I would set up. Kind of stopped doing the cameras after a while because I probably should have kept doing them. It
Yeah.
took a long time to set them up.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was people were having more fun and getting more experience just from using the equipment and walking around.
Yeah.
We never did that much. The way it would typically run is once we figured out like zones where we
Hmm.
could separate, not have people bumping into each other
Right.
as they do their own investigation. We bring them in. We kind of explain some of the history of the place,
Hmm.
what the rumors are. Then we would go through like the equipment that we had and kind
Okay.
of explain the theory behind all the equipment that would 10, 15 minutes. We go
Okay.
through, why people use the temperature gun to look for quick changes in temperature.
Gotcha.
That's because
Okay.
when the ghost, the spirits manifesting, the theory is. So things like that. We go through all that. And then after that, we would break into groups. And like I said, 15, 20, 30-minute shifts, we would try different areas. And sometimes it was just like people would find sometimes people didn't.
Yeah.
But I think everybody at the end, still enjoyed it. Like when we had the one time at the house, everybody had experiences. And then, oh, actually, I lied. After we do the equipment, we do the opening prayer.
Yeah.
So that's very important because you don't want
Yes.
anything following you home, right? So it's like
Absolutely.
my wife would recite this prayer. I don't know if she found it, but it was, protect us from evil spirits
Yeah.
and, let us find things, but keep us safe,
Yeah.
basically. And then at
Absolutely.
the end, not everybody participated in the beginning, but usually at the end, then we'd all gather at the end after everybody had their chance to go through all the
Yeah.
areas. We'd share experiences, go around the room, and we do a closing for everybody. Everybody participated in the closing
Yeah.
prayer, especially when it was
Oh,
crazy.
too
It was like,
funny.
command the spirits to stay here, don't
Yeah.
follow us home. Even then, it was like the activity was so much. We would smudge. We'd have a smudge stick
Yeah.
outside, and people were like, "Can you please smudge?" We had a
Yes.
line
Yes.
the one night at the farmhouse. Everybody wanted to get smudged.
Wow.
Even I did. It was like pretty crazy that night. It was just a
Yeah.
lot going on.
So that
Yeah.
kind of hints at another question I have. So you've done these investigations. Have you noticed if anything ever has followed you home? Have you ever experienced anything at home after these?
I have not. I
Okay.
have not, which is great. So I'm really grateful for that. I think a lot of it is
Absolutely.
maybe the closing prayer, and then we do the smudging. And yeah, that was always kind of like my thing. And we never really had anything that I felt too malevolent.
Yeah.
Other than the Romeo's Lodge one
Okay.
time, and that was the only location I'd been to where someone actually got scratched, and that was pretty crazy.
Wow.
And I didn't. She was with our group too, and she was just walking, and yeah, we could see it. It was crazy.
That's terrifying. I
Yeah,
think that's like the one of the worst experiences. I love going. I love hearing stories. I don't mind picking up on this and that, but when you get to the point where you're, getting physically harmed, that's a no-go. That's not
I agree.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because I think we
terrifying.
even said something at that point, like, no,
Yeah.
we tried to tell it to back off.
Yeah.
And she went through it was kind of early in the invest. She stayed the whole time.
Did she
So
really?
yeah, that was cool. That place was pretty neat. Yeah, I don't know if they still do that or not, but
Interesting. I
yeah,
might have to look that
yeah.
one up too. Very cool. What would be one thing that you would want the public to understand about real paranormal investigations compared to what you see on TV? We kind of hit on it a
A
little
little
bit,
bit,
but
yeah. I think, like I said, one of the things is there's a lot of dead time, right? So don't
yeah.
go in expecting to have all your devices go off, and not every single time it goes off, it doesn't mean anything
Yeah.
necessarily either. If you're doing a recording like I did, don't whisper, because if you whisper, it's really hard to
To
tell.
distinguish.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
we
if
did
you
that
could
in the
catch them.
beginning. We all did, and that's the group. Like we tell everybody, like it's trying to be quiet. I know you want to whisper, but do
Yeah.
not whisper when you're recording, or you won't be able to tell the
Good
difference.
pointer.
Yes, yes. So that was one thing I learned right off the bat.
Okay.
Yeah, I think those are a couple of things, and you can use all this equipment. I guess the teddy bear thing you're talking
Yeah.
about now, and I know they have all these apps on your phone and things now too. But I think the most, just use your body, right?
Yeah.
Like trust your,
Intuition.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like if your hairs stand up,
Yeah.
if you're feeling it, don't just dismiss that
Yeah.
all the time. I think that's a good indicator
Yeah.
sometimes.
So it's funny you say that. So I went to Salem the beginning of October, just a couple weeks ago, and we went to the old Burial Hill Cemetery over in Marblehead. So this was the location where they filmed the graveyard scene in Hocus Pocus. So
Oh,
this was the
cool.
same cemetery. And so we got out our little
Yeah.
box, doing our own little investigation, my friend and I. And we didn't catch a whole lot. There was like weird random words that came up, but when those words came up right before, I would get like a chill.
Really?
And it would only be on one side.
Oh,
And then we had like the little detector that could sense where
oh
things
yeah,
were, and it
yeah.
would always be on the same side. So
Kind of cool.
definitely, it was
Yeah,
really cool experience.
yeah.
Also, I didn't feel like anything was threatening there. There
Right.
was a ton of veterans, so as soon as I mentioned the war, we started getting hits a lot
Yeah,
more too.
yeah.
So that was pretty neat. So we just always thank them for their time. I'm always more of it's kind of like with AI. I always say, please, thank you.
Oh yeah. We do that too. We do that too.
But yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, trust your intuition because
Definitely.
if the equipment doesn't pick it up, you definitely will. And then one last question. Well, I have two. What advice would you give somebody who's thinking about becoming an investigator?
Yeah, come in with open mind, right? We've had Unfortunately, we've had folks that come to this. It's usually kind of like how I was, that the wife is all into it, and then the husband's
Yeah.
like, "She dragged me here," right?
Yes.
And we'd be like, you can sit here and just be miserable for two
Yeah.
hours, or you can just give
Just
it a
join
try,
in.
right? So you got to go in with open mind,
Yeah.
and Like I said, I think just kind of some of the similar things I said earlier, just,
Mhm.
kind of trust your instincts
Yep.
and, yeah, if you go with open mind and be respectful,
Yes.
right? Don't go in. I don't like, there's a one show.
Bagel.
That's it. Yeah, I don't like them either. I don't like
Yeah, it's
that.
just rude.
Don't do
You're
that.
going into their
Yeah.
house, their location. Don't do that because you
Right.
wouldn't like it if somebody did it to you.
Yeah,
That's how
and,
I feel.
that might provoke
Yeah,
things that you don't wanna provoke.
absolutely. And then one last question. Do you miss it?
I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. The day job's kinda got in the way. I mean, I love my job, but, I didn't do a lot of the booking of these things. It
Okay.
was really Lisa, really Kelly, really.
Mhm.
She did a lot, and she got super busy,
Life
and it
happens.
life
Yeah.
happens. We had a kid, and then so we kind of fell out of it, but we were still doing the Holly Hotel, like, every Halloween, we would do 2
Nice.
days there,
That's cool.
and then it burned down again.
Yeah.
That was the history with that place. It's
Oh
burned
my
down like
gosh.
3
That's
times. So,
insane.
yeah, that place was pretty cool too,
Yeah.
but we did that one because they handled, like, the advertisement and the
Nice.
selling it. All we had to do was show up and do the ghost hunt.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, it was great, and they let us kinda go up in the attic, which was
Oh,
really
nice.
cool there. Um, yeah, I don't know if it's even rebuilt yet. I know they're slowly rebuilding it.
Yeah.
It's crazy how many fires that place
That
has
is,
had.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
That
is
was it was a
crazy.
cool place too. They would overbook though a lot.
Ugh,
So
that
there's a
sounds
lot of people, but we did still made it.
nice. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I really do appreciate it. And sharing your stories and kind of tips and
My
pointers
pleasure.
on becoming an investigator. So that's a wrap for today's encounter. I'm Trish. This has been Grim Happenings. Not everything that goes bump in the night is your imagination. If you have stories you'd like to share, let's meet up. Contact us at grimhappeningspodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's grimhappeningspodcast, one word, at gmail.com. Stay safe, Grimsters.